Erev Tov, everyone. It is Tuesday night. It is 8 p.m. here on the east side of the United States, here in the diaspora. This is the Maimon Beit Knesset. Therefore, it must be the Rabbis Discuss whatever it is the rabbis want to discuss. And we're going to continue with part 10 of the Bahir. And before we start, let's bring Rabbi Ancel on. And you're on, sir.
Erev Tov, everybody. We can start.
Okay, so we're going to the consensus in the chat room after our brief, I don't know, what do you call it, poll that we did the last time is that we finish the Bahir, and let's see what we got in the chat. We have Donald, we have Marshall, we have someone else. I'm sorry that the Hebrew is too small for me to actually be able to read it from here. So, I can't make it up. Okay. So anyway, we're glad you're here anyway. So we've been at this for 10 weeks now.
Yes.
Micah. Okay. 10 weeks, and I think we're going to finish this by the time we're going to take. Next week will be the last show for the summer, and then we will be back again in the fall and carry on, just like we have been doing for the last few years. Excuse me, it's allergy season here in Michigan, so we have to deal with that. So, you ready to get to it? Got no comments this evening or anything? Ancel?
Well, I'm just waiting to finish the Bahir so that
Okay.
we can start a new season.
Okay, well, just wanted to see if you wanted to add anything to we were talking about. Okay, let me. Oh yeah, that's right. I got to put up my screen, don't I? Oh, it has been a day, has it not?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go, and see if you'll be able to. Okay, hopefully you'll be able to see that now.
I see it fine.
Okay, hang on. I gotta just jump around here for a second. Here, we'll bring that back up. Okay, so we left off last week on verse 69, which is where we're going to pick up tonight. So it's all yours.
Okay, so what is the meaning? I heard a report of you and I feared. Oh God, bring to life your works in the midst of the years. Why does the word say, I feared, after I heard a report of you, and not after in the midst of years? But it was from the report of you that I feared. What is the report of you? It is the place where you listen to reports. They listen to reports. Why does the word say, I heard, and not I understood? The word heard was the connotation of understanding, as in we find in Deuteronomy, a nation whose language you do not hear. Why did he say, I feared? Because the ear looks like a letter Aleph. The Aleph is the first of all letters. Besides this, the Aleph causes all the letters to endure. The Aleph looks like the brain. When you mention the Aleph, you open your mouth. The same is true of thought. When you extend your thoughts to infinite and the boundless. From the Aleph emanates all letters. Do we not see it at first? It is thus written, God is at their head. We have a rule that every name that is written with Yud, He, Vav, He is specific to the Blessed Holy One, and it is sanctified with holiness. So, what is the meaning? What is the meaningless of with holiness? This is the holy place where the holy where is the holy place? We will say that it is in thoughts and in the Aleph.
Yeah. He really doesn't answer the question, does he?
No,
Yeah.
but
Why did he say he I fear? Because the ear looks like an olive?
we you and I discussed it many times. Why do we fear God? Like I always said, you can be in awe of God, uh,
Yeah.
and respect and everything, but why do we fear unless you did something wrong?
Yeah. Which pretty much all the time, huh?
Correct.
But then again, I made the point that, fear of God is more like fear of your father. And I don't mean because he can punish you. I mean it's because you fear not living up to his expectations.
Well, we talk about that, and
Yeah.
and, and I can agree with it because we always look up to our Father, and
Yeah.
we don't want to do the wrong thing.
Well, we don't want to
Uh,
disappoint him, you know, as
Correct.
as we probably did so many times during our youth. that So yeah, when my parents had their 50th wedding anniversary, and I made a speech there, and I said, now that I have kids, I'm so sorry. I was such a jerk when I was a kid.
But we're
Okay.
kids, and it's a phase of growing up, and we all make mistakes. And I can say, even at my age, I'm 75 years old. I still make mistakes, and I
Yeah.
have made mistakes. And
Well, we just had a discussion about one I made the other day.
yeah, and you know what it is? One day I'll face God and I'll have to answer.
Yeah.
Making mistakes, we all do. I think the most important thing about making a mistake is learning from it and not
Absolutely.
repeating it. That is the benefit, I think, of making a mistake. It sounds crazy, but it is. When you make a mistake, you learn, and you try not to repeat it, and you learn from it. So,
Yeah. I mean, when I was working um, back at one of the big automotive companies, we'll just say that. But when I was working there, and I had a great supervisor there, and we did a lot of work with divisional experimental and stuff like that, and sometimes we would go off on our own and we would conduct our own experiments. And I know sometimes they just didn't work out, and my immediate supervisor would say, okay, what's the status of this project that you're working on? I said, just didn't work out. It just didn't. We just didn't get anywhere. And his answer was always the same, or his question was always the same thing. Did you learn anything from it? So if you learned something from it, then it wasn't a failure.
correct. It's the same thing. I have no fear. I, like I said, do I fear God? I have an awe. I mean, there's
Yeah,
many different things to what I feel about God. Do I fear? I have no fears. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting in the seat of a cockpit. I have no fear. Never had any fear. Uh, the same thing people say, well, I'm afraid I'm going to die. Well, I don't think you have much choice.
that's true.
People who are afraid of dying don't know how to live. This is my
Exactly.
opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's something that we're all going to have to deal with. Yeah. I mean,
They got no
it's like
choice,
it's like they say, nobody gets out alive.
Nope.
Okay, so we're on to the next page.
So this is the meaning of the verse. I heard a report of you, and I feared. Habakkuk therefore said, I know that my prayer is accepted with delight. I also delighted when I came to the place where I understood a report of you, and I feared. Therefore, bring to life your works in the midst of the years through your unity. So, what is this like? A king who was talented, hidden and concealed, went into his house and commanded that no one seek him. One who does seek is therefore afraid, lest the king finds out that he has violated the king's order. Habakkuk therefore said, I feared, O God, bring to life your works in the midst of the years. I, from what I understand, that is, God said, don't look at things that you have no business in looking at.
Okay.
It's, it says, don't seek him because you won't find him. One who does seek is therefore afraid, lest the king finds out that he has violated the king's order. God said that you're not going to find everything. You know, you try to find a lot of rabbis and a lot of greats have tried to find the secrets of the Torah. And God said, don't seek because it's not your business. You will find out the answer
Right.
when Mashiach comes.
Right. I mean, even Moshe Rabbeinu, they say in this world there are 50 levels of the Torah, and Moshe
Yep.
Rabbeinu could only reach 49. You know, even as great as Moshe was, he couldn't reach all of them. He could only reach to 49 levels in this world. They say in the upper realms there are 50 more, and then 50 more, and then 50 more, and 50 more, and so on and so on and so forth. Yeah, and then we also talk about this too, that again, when you're studying Torah and stuff like that, you can they say that you can only see to the level you are at. Beyond that, you cannot see. So as we go through the Torah every single year, and we get more and more understanding, and we come across things in the Torah that just kind of suddenly click. I've read this thing how many hundreds of times, and it never dawned on me that it meant this. And that's because now you had reached the level where you can actually see it. Before that, you couldn't see it because you weren't at a level where you could actually see it.
That's the same thing with the warning about the Zohar. Don't study it until you're 42 because you're not mature enough to study. And the other thing is, a lot of people get into Zohar because they want to get into numerology, but even at that, you can only go so far because your brain can only comprehend so much, and then it stops, and people get frustrated.
Well, and then they have to understand what is going on in the Zohar is that trying to understand what is not understandable.
People try. That's it.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can try, but what you have to realize is that you may not understand any of it. I mean, you just it's trying to understand the mind of God, and who can understand the mind of God?
Well, numerology is a bad thing. I mean, I committed a sin in learning numerology, and I made a mistake, and I lost 4 friends because of it. And never will I go in again. Well, the Bahir is fine, all the other sections, but there's some sections that it's nobody's business to get into, like the book of numerology, the book of curses. I mean, there's a lot of things that your eyes shouldn't even look upon.
Yeah, because and we've seen great rabbis in the past, and we talk about the 4 that went to Pardes. But even after that, we've seen great Hasidic rabbis and stuff who have gotten together, studied the Zohar, and decided that, okay, maybe we can force God's hand and bring Mashiach. And it has never worked for any of them. In fact, all of them were punished exceedingly for it.
How
So,
can you force the hand of God?
oh yeah, exactly.
Anyways, so this is what Habakkuk said: because your name is in you, and in you is your name, bring to life your works in the midst of the years. Thus will it be forever.
Okay, so Simcha has joined us. Good evening. So we're on to 72 now.
Another explanation is bring to life your works in the midst of years is that what is that like? A king had a beautiful pearl, and it was the treasure of the kingdom. When he's happy, he embraces it, he kisses it, places it on his head, and loves it. Habakkuk even said, even though the kings are with you, the beloved pearl is in your world. Therefore, bring to life your works in the midst of years. So, what is the meaning of years? It is written in Genesis, and God said, let there be light. Light is nothing other than day, because it's written in Genesis, the great light to rule the day, and the small light to rule the night. So the small light meaning the moon.
Right.
Years are made from days. So it is written, bring to life your works in the midst of years, in the midst of that pearl that gives rights to years.
And we're on to 73.
But it's also written in Isaiah, fear not, for I am with you. I will bring your seed from the east. The sun rises in the east, and you say, that pearl is day. So he replied, I am only speaking with regard of the verse in Genesis, and it was evening, and it was morning, day. Regarding this, it is written in Genesis, in the day that God made earth and heaven. So it is also written in Psalms, he made darkness his hiding place, round about. His sukkah, the darkness of waters, thick clouds of the skies. He said, regarding this, it's written in Isaiah, the skies pour down righteousness. This righteousness is the attribute of judgment for the world. It is written in Deuteronomy, righteousness, righteousness shall you pursue. Immediately after this, it's written that you may live and occupy the land. If you judge yourself, then you will live. If not, then it will judge you. It will be fulfilled, even against your will. Therefore, we are not allowed to judge anybody else. Judge yourself, okay, but don't judge anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Why does the Torah say righteousness, righteousness twice? He said, because the scripture continues at the glow opposite him. The first righteousness is literal righteousness, tzedek. This is the divine presence. It is thus written in Isaiah, righteousness dwells in it. So what is the second righteousness? This is the righteousness that frightens the righteous. It is the righteous, is this righteousness charity, tzedakah, or not? He said that it is not.
Okay, so if we go back to, why does it say righteousness twice?
Well, the first one is tzedek, which means righteousness. The second one, it says that the righteous are afraid to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So it frightens them that they don't do the right thing. And I think that a lot pertains to judges.
Okay, but if we go back to, if we go back to Joseph and Paro, well, let's go back even farther to the chamberlain of the cups and the chamberlain of the Chamberlain of the cups, Chamberlain of the butchers, right?
Yeah.
No, bakers. Okay, I'll get it right because he was in the prison of the of the chamberlain of the butchers. Potiphar was the chamberlain of the butchers, and the chamberlain of the bakers and the chamberlain of the cups was in the prison. Okay, now that I got that straight in my head. Okay, now when he interprets the dreams for the two chamberlains, and they actually come true. Then he goes to 2 years later because he made the mistake of trusting in men rather than in God. He had to spend an extra 2 years in prison. So at that time, he goes to Paro, and Paro tells him about the dream, right? And he tells him he had this dream twice. And Yosef tells him that the reason that he dreamt that twice is because it was already in action. It was already set. Said that anytime we see that God says anything twice, it means it is set. It is happening. Therefore, we
Well, at the
have
beginning of the Bahir, we finally understood that the world, the universe, was in God's plans, but it was not an actual fact. It was a plan.
right.
So when God created it, it became something that is. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so that's why I'm saying, why does he say it twice? Because God has said it. Okay. Okay. So let's move on.
Okay, so 76.
No, we're on the next page. Why? Why? He asked, questioningly.
Why? Because it is written in Isaiah, he put on righteousness like a coat of mail and a helmet of salvation on his head. His head is nothing other than truth, because it's written in Psalms, the head of your word is truth. Truth is nothing other than peace. It is written in Kings, Ezekiel, there shall be peace, the truth in my days. Is it possible for a man to say this? But this is what Hezekiah said: the attribute that you give to David, my ancestor, is half of my days, and peace and truth are half of my days. It is this for that reason that he mentioned my days. He mentioned both peace and truth, and in my days, since it is all one, because it's written in Genesis, and it was evening, and it was morning, one day.
Now, Hezekiah, if I remember right, was he was a righteous king,
Correct.
and I think I read in it's an Agidah, I think, from the Sefer Agidah, that Hezekiah was such a righteous king that in his reign it rained every Sabbath, so that people would have to stay in and have to rest.
Mhm.
Did you ever read that?
Yes.
Okay. So I wasn't hallucinating it.
No.
Okay, just checking myself.
The day reconciles morning and evening, so it is therefore peace. Just as the day is peace, so he chose peace. It is therefore written in Kings, peace and truth shall be on my days. This shall be through the attribute that you gave to David. Regarding this, it's written in Psalms, his throne shall be like the sun before me. So, what is the meaning of the verse, in the midst of years, make it known? He said, I know that you are the holy God, as it is written in Exodus. Who is like you, mighty in holiness? Holiness is in you, and you are the holiness. Nevertheless, in the midst of years, make it known. So, what is it? What is the meaning of make it known? This means that you should have mercy, So it's written in Exodus, and God saw the children of Israel, and God knew. So what is the meaning that in God knew? What is this like? A king had a beautiful wife, and he had children from her. He loved them and raised them, but they went out on bad ways. He then hated both of them and their mother. The mother went to them and said, "My children, why do you do this? Why do you make your father hate both of you and me?" She spoke to them in this manner until they had remorse and did the will of their father. When the king saw this, he loved them as much as he did in the beginning. He then also remembered their mother. So, what is the meaning of the verse, "and God saw, and God knew"? This is also the meaning of the verse, "in the midst of years, make it known." So, what is the meaning of the verse? "In anger you shall remember love." Rachem. He said, "When your children sin before you and you are angry at them, remember love." What is the meaning of remember love? That regarding it is which is written in Psalms, "I love you, God, my strength."
This is
And you have,
this is the when your children sin before you, you're angry at them. Remember love. And this is the concept of pushing away with the right and drawing closer with the left.
yep.
Okay.
Okay, and you should remember their father Abraham, as it's written in Isaiah, "The seed of Abraham, my friend, in the midst of years, make it known." Where do we see Abraham had a daughter? It is written in Genesis, and God blessed Abraham with all. Bakol means with all. It is also written in Isaiah, "All that is called by my name, for my glory, I created it, I formed it, and I also made it." Was this blessing his daughter or was it not? Yes, it was his daughter. What is this like? A king had a slave who was complete and perfect before him. The king tested the slave in many ways, but the slave withstood all temptation. So the king said, "What will I give that slave? What should I do for him? I can do nothing but command my older brother to advise him, watch over him, and honor him." The slave thus went to the older brother and learned his attributes. The brother loved him very much and called him his friend. It is written in Isaiah, "The seed of Abraham, my friend." He said, "What will I give him? What can I do for him? Behold, I have made a beautiful vessel, and in it are beautiful jewels. There is nothing like it in the treasure of kings. I will give it to him, and he will be worthy in his place." This is the meaning of the words, "and God blessed Abraham with all." Another explanation, it is written in Habakkuk, "I heard a report that you, I heard, I heard a report of you, and I feared." This means I understood what the report was all about, and I feared. What did he understand? He understood God's thought. Even human thought has no end, for man can think and descend to the end of the world. The year also has an end, and it's not satiated. It is thus written in Ecclesiastics, "The ear is not satiated from hearing." Why is this so? Because the ear is in the shape of an aleph. Aleph is the root of the Ten Commandments. Therefore, the ear is not satiated from hearing. So, what is the meaning of the letter Zion? It is the word ozen, which means ear. We have said that everything that the blessed Holy One brought into this world has a name emanating from its concept.
Okay,
So it's
this goes right back to when we first started reading this, and it said that God spoke, and when He spoke, it came into being, but it was only when it was given a name that it actually gained its attributes. So
correct.
He has a name emanating from this concept.
So it's written in Genesis, all that the man called each living soul, that was its name. This teaches us that each thing's body was dust. And how do we know that each thing's name is its body? Because it's written in Proverbs, the memory of the righteous shall be a blessing, and the name of the wicked shall not. What
Right.
actually rots their name or their body? One must agree that it is their body. Here too, each thing's name refers to its body. What is an example of this? Take the word for the root soresh, which is sheen uresh sheen. The letter sheen looks like the roots of a tree. Resh is bent, since the root of every tree is bent. And what is the function of the final shin? This teaches us that if you take a branch and plant it, it will root again. So, what is the function of the Zion in Ozen in the year? Its numerical value is 7, corresponding to the 7 days of the week. This teaches us that each day has its own power. And what is the function of the word Ozen? This teaches us that just like there is an infinite wisdom in the year, so there is the power in all parts of the body. So, what are the 7 parts of the body? It's written in Genesis, in the form of God, he made man. It is also written in Genesis, in the form of God, he made him, counting all his limbs and parts. But we have said, what does the letter Vav resemble? It is alluded to it in the verse in Psalms. He spreads out light like a garment, for the Vav is nothing other than in the 6 directions. So he replied, the covenant of circumcision, a man's mate, are considered as one. His 2 hands then make 3, his head and body 5, and his 2 legs makes it 7. Paralleling these are the powers in heaven. So it's written in Ecclesiastics. Also one opposite the other has God made. These are the days of the week, as it is written in Exodus, because 6 days God made the heavens and the earth. The scripture does not say in 6 days, but it says rather says 6 days. This teaches us that each day of the week has its own specific power. So, what is the significance of the nun in the word ozen? This teaches us that the aura is in the main part of the spinal cord. It constantly draws from there, and it is not from the spinal cord. The brain could not endure, and without the brain, the body could not endure. This entire body only exists in order to provide for the needs of the brain. And if the body did not endure, the brain would also not endure. The spinal cord is the channel from the brain to the entire body. It is represented by the bent noon. But in the word ozen, the noon is a straight one. The straight noon is the one it is always at the end of the word. This teaches us that the straight noon includes both the bent one and the straight one. For the bent noon is the foundation. So it teaches us that the straight noon includes both male and female. The open mem, what is the open mem? It includes both male and female. So what is the closed mem? It is like the belly from above. But Rabbi Rahomai said that the belly is like the letter tet. He said that it is like a tet on the inside, while I say that it's like a mem on the outside. So what is a mem? Do not read mem, but maim, which is water. Just like water is wet, so is the belly always wet. For what does the open man include, both male and female? While the closed man is male.
Just so you know, there's a time delay.
This teaches us that the man is primarily male. The opening was then added to it for the sake of the female. Just like the male cannot give birth, so the closed man cannot give birth. And just like the female has an opening in which to give birth, so can the open man give birth. The man is therefore open and closed. Why should the man have two forms, open and closed? Because we have said, do not read the man, but Maim, which is water. The woman is cold and therefore must be warmed by the male. Why should the noon have two forms, bent and straight one? Because it's written in Psalms, before the sun shall before the sun shall his name reign. This is from two noons, the bent one and the straight one, and it must be through male and the female. So it's written in Ecclesiastes, the ear is not satiated from hearing. It is also written in Ecclesiastes, the eye is not satiated from seeing. So this teaches us that both draw from thought. So what is thought? It is a king that is needed by all things that were created in the world, both above and below. So what is the meaning of the expression, it rose in thought? Why do not we say that it descended in thought? Indeed, we have said, one who gazes into the vision of the chariot first descends and then ascends. We use the expression of descend there because we say one who gazes into vision of the chariot. The Aramaic translation of vision, sefat, is sehuta, meaning a covering, and alluded to the fact that the one is looking down from above. It's also written in Isaiah, and he called us a lion upon the watchtower, the mitzvah of God. Here, however, we are speaking of thought and therefore only speak of ascent, for thought does not include any vision and has no ending whatsoever, and anything that has no end or limit does not have any descent. People therefore say someone descended to the limit of his friend's knowledge. One can arrive at the limit of one person's knowledge, but not at the limit of his thought. So Rabbi Amoral said, and he expounded on this, what is the meaning of Segol? Its name is Segula, which means treasure. It comes after the Zarka. What is the meaning of Zarka? It is like its name, something that is thrown. It is like something that is thrown, and after it comes ecclesiastic, the treasures of kings and lands. So, what is the reason that it's called Zarka? It is written in Ezekiel, blessed is the glory of God from his place. This indicates that no being known knows his place. We recite God's name over the crown, and it goes to the head of the owner. It is written regarding God in Genesis, owner of heaven and earth. When it goes, it is like it is thrown, Zarkov. Following following it is treasure, Segula. It is at the end of all letters. Why is this the accent at the end of the word and not at the beginning? This teaches us that the crown rises higher and higher. It is included and crowned, and it's written in Psalm, the stone that the builders rejected has become the head cornerstone. It ascends to the place from which it was graven. It is written in Genesis, from this is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. It is, he also said, what is the reason that we place a blue wool on the tzitzit? And why are there 32 threads? What is this like? A king had a beautiful garden, and in it were the 32 paths. He placed a watchman over them to show that all these paths belonged to him alone. The king said to him, watch them and walk upon them every day. As long as you walk these paths, you will have peace. So, what is this watchman? What did the watchman do? He appointed to watch over them. He said, if I remain alone on these paths, it is impossible for me, a single watchman, to maintain them all. Besides that, people may say that I am the king. So the watchman therefore placed his assistants over all the paths. These are the 32 paths. So what is the reason for the blue thread? The watchman said, perhaps those assistant watchmen will say that the garden belongs to us. He therefore gave them a sign and told them, see this, it is the sign of the king, indicating that the garden belongs to him. He is the one who made these paths, and they are not mine. This is his seal. So what is this like? A king had a king and his daughter had slaves, and they wanted to travel abroad, but the slaves were afraid, being in terror of the king. He therefore gave them the sign. They were also afraid of the daughter. She gave them also a sign. They said, from now on, with these two signs, God will watch you from all evil. He will safeguard your soul. So Rabbi Amoral said, and he expounded on this. What is the meaning of the verse in Kings? Behold the heavens and the behold the heaven and the heaven of the heaven cannot contain you. This teaches us the Blessed Holy One has 72 names. All of them were placed in the tribes of Israel, because it's written in Exodus. Six of their names on one stone, and the names of the other six on the other stone, according to their generations. It's also written in Joshua, he raised up 12 stones, just like the first are, stones of memorial. These are stones of memorial. These There are therefore 12 stones, each containing six names, making a total of 72. These parallel the 72 names of the Blessed Holy One. Why do they begin with 12? This teaches us that God has 12 directives. Each one of them has six powers, making a total of 72. What are they? They are they are the 72 languages. The Blessed Holy One has a single tree, and it has 12 diagonal boundaries. The northeast boundary, the southeast boundary, the upper east boundary, the lower east boundary, the southwest boundary and the northwest boundary, the upper west boundary and the lower west boundary, the upper south boundary and the lower south boundary, the upper north boundary and the lower north. The continual spread forever and ever. They are the arms of the world.
Okay, we're at our halfway point. Let us. We're going to take our break here, and when we return, we'll get into this a little further. Ancel, I'm going to turn you down here for a moment.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to take our break and we will return in 6. So stay tuned.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
It's intermission time, folks, so hurry, hurry, hurry. Step right over to our refreshment center for the most extravagant array of refreshment goodies ever assembled under one roof. Enjoy breathtaking, mouth-watering goodies, everything from a snack to a delicious full meal. At our refreshment center, you'll find a large variety of goodies to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, or your sweet tooth. So hurry, hurry, hurry. Visit our refreshment center now. The show starts in 5 minutes. The show starts in 4 minutes. The show starts in 3 minutes. The show starts in 2 minutes. show starts in 1 minute. And now, on with the show.
And we are back. Okay, so let's bring Rabbi Ancel back on. You're back on there, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So let me bring that back up for you. There you go.
Still black.
It'll get there.
Okay. So, on the inside of them is the tree. Paralleling these diagonals, there are 12 functionaries. Inside the sphere, there are also 12 functionaries, including the diagonals themselves. This makes a total of 36 functionaries. Each of these has another, because it's written in Ecclesiastes, for one above, another watches. This makes a total of 72. It therefore comes out that the cast has 9, the west has 9, the north has 9, and the south has 9. These are 12 and 12 and 12, and they are the functionaries in the axis, the sphere, and then the heart. The total is 36. The power of each of these is 36 in every other one. Even though these are 12 in each of the three, they are all attached to each other. Therefore, all 36 powers are in the first one, which is the axis.
Okay.
And if you seek them in the sphere, you will find the very same ones. And if you seek them in the heart, you will again find the very same ones. Each one, therefore, has 36. All of them do not have more than 36 forms. All of them complete the heart, which has numerical value of 32. 4 are then left over. Add 32 to 32, and the sum is 64. These are the 64 forms. How do we know that the 32 must be added to 32? Because it's written in Ecclesiastes, for one above, another watches, and there are higher ones above them. We thus have 64, 8 less than the 72 name of the Blessed Holy One. These are alluded to in the verse, there are higher ones above them, and there are 7 days of the week. But one is still missing. This is referred to it in the next verse in Ecclesiastes. The advantage of the land in everything is the king.
Sorry, I'm doing some calculations here.
What is this?
Okay.
What is this advantage? This is the place from which the earth was graven. It is an advantage over what existed previously. And what is this advantage? Everything in this world that people see is taken from its radiance. Then it is an advantage. What is the earth from which the heavens were graven? It is the throne of the Blessed Holy One. It is the precious stone and the sea of wisdom. This parallels the blue string in the tzitzit. Rabbi Meir that said, why is the blue chosen above all colors for the tzitzit? Because blue resembles the sea resembles the sky, and the sky resembles the throne of glory, because it's written in Exodus, they saw God of Israel, and under his feet was like a pavement of sapphires, like the essence of heaven in clarity. It is furthermore written in Ezekiel, as the likeness of a sapphire stone was the appearance of the throne.
Okay, so I wanted to get back to this. The 12 directions. They call them the 12 directions. So this goes back to when we were talking quite a while ago. Okay, that we have the. Let me just do it here. Oops. Let me, okay, so we have three-dimensional world. So we have X, Y, and Z directions in this three-dimensional world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in between these, just like in the points of a compass, you have north, south, east, and west. Okay, so you have north, you have northeast, and you have east, and you have southeast and west. So you have points in between. You have the same thing with the three dimensions. We have points in between there. So if we look at it, we have Z plus and we have Z minus. Okay, the central point, this point here in the middle is 0. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so when we look at this, we have Z plus, Z minus, and then we have in between we have ZX, and then from there XY. So we have Z, ZX, X, XY, Y, Z minus, and so on until we go all the way back around here. So when we look at this, we count these all up, the positives and the negatives, we have 12 directions from the central point, which again is 0. Okay, so I was actually doing that more for myself than people in the chat room, but hey, you got to experience it with me. So, okay, I don't know if you found that interesting or not, but there you go.
No, I followed you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Rabbi Berachia sat and expounded. What is the meaning of the verse in Exodus? And they shall take for me a lifted offering, which is called teruma. It means lift me up with your prayers. And whom? Those whose hearts make them willing. These are the ones who are willing to draw themselves away from this world. Honor him, for it is in him that I rejoice. Since he knows my name, from him it is fitting to take my lifted offering, as it is written in Exodus, for each man whose heart makes him willing, you shall take my lifted offering from he who makes himself willing. Rabbi Rahamai said, this refers to the righteous and the pious in Israel, who raise me over all the world through their merit. From them the heart is sustained, and the heart sustains them. And all the holy forms oversee all their nations, but Israel is holy, taking the tree itself and its heart. The heart is the beauty, hadar, of the fruit of the body. Similarly, Israel takes the fruit of a beautiful hadar tree. The date palm is surrounded by its branches all around and has its sprout, the lulav, in the center. Similarly, Israel takes the body of the tree, which is at its heart. And paralleling the body is the spinal cord, which is the main part of the body. So, what is the lulav? It can be written lolev. It has a heart. The heart is also given over to it. And what is this heart? It is the 32 hidden paths of wisdom that are hid, that are hidden in it. In each of the paths, there's also a form watching over it. Thus, it's written in Genesis to watch the way of the tree of life. What are these forms? They are that regarding which it is written in Genesis. And he placed the cherubim to the east of the Garden of Eden, and the flame of a sword revolving to guard the way of the tree of life. So, what is the meaning he placed to the east, Kedem, of the Garden of Eden? He placed it in those paths that preceded Kadmu, the place that was called the Garden of Eden. It was also before cherubim, because it's written, the cherubim, it was furthermore before the flame, as it is written, the flame of the sword revolving. It is then before the flame, heaven is called Shamayim, indicating that fire and water existed before it, because it's written in Genesis, let there be a firmament in the midst of waters, and let there be a division between waters and water, because it's written in Genesis, God called the firmament heaven, Shamayim. How do we know that the heavens is fire? Because it's written in Deuteronomy, for the Lord your God is consuming fire, a jealous God. And how do we know that heaven refers to the Blessed One? Because it's written in Kings, and you, O heaven, shall hear. Was Solomon then praying to heaven that it should hear their prayers? But we must say that he was praying to the one whose name is heaven. Because it's written in Kings, behold, the heaven and the heaven of heaven cannot contain you. This is the name of the Blessed Holy One. You therefore have fire. How can you then say that it was before? But we must say that the power existed before. The forms of the place only then that the Holy One forms come into existence. And that's what we talked about.
Yep.
It was just a form, and there was just a thought, and when he made it, it became real. What is their power? It is that regarding it which is written in Samuel. There is none holy like God. There is none other than you, and there is no foreman like you, our God. Rabbi Berachia said and expounded, what is the lulav that we discussed? It is 36 given over to 32. And how? He replied, there are three princes, the axis, the sphere, and the heart. Each one is 12, and the three therefore constitutes the sum of 36, through which the word is sustained, because it's written in Proverbs, and righteous is the foundation of the world. We learn that there's a single pillar extending from heaven to earth, and its name is righteous, tzaddik. This pillar is named after the righteous. When there are righteous people in the world, then it becomes strong. And when there are not, it becomes weak. It supports the entire world because it's written, and righteous is the foundation of the world. If it becomes weak, then the world cannot endure. Therefore, even if there were only one righteous person in the world, it is he who supports the world. It's because it's written, and a righteous one is the foundations of the world. You should therefore take my lifted offering from him first, because in Exodus it says, and this is the lifted offering that you should take from them, from the rest. What is it? Gold, silver, and copper. And there's another explanation. It's written in Exodus, and they shall take from me a lifted offering. Lead, that means from me, and that can also be that from the youth. They shall take the youth, which is the tenth, as lifted offering to make it holy. How do we know that this is the tenth is holy? Because it's written in Leviticus, the tenth shall be holy to God. So what is holy? That is remaining, which is written in Ezekiel, the beginning of all first fruits and every lifted offering of everything. Because it's written in Psalms, the beginning of wisdom is the fear of God. Do not read it as fear, but and the fear. The verse will then read, the beginning is wisdom and the fear of God. The disciples asked Rabbi Eliezer, our master, what is the meaning of the verse, sanctify to me every firstborn? Does this blessed Holy One have a firstborn? He replied, sang to me, that means Lee, every firstborn refers to nothing other than the second level of holiness. It is the name that is given to Israel because it's written in Exodus, my son, my firstborn is Israel. To the extent that we can express it, he was with them in Egypt in the time of their oppression, because it's written in Exodus, send forth my son, and he will serve me. Here only my son is mentioned and not my firstborn. So Rabbi Rahamai said, what is the meaning of the verse in Deuteronomy? You shall surely send away the mother, and the children you shall take for yourself. Why did not say you shall surely send away the father? But the scripture says, you shall surely send away the mother in honor of the one who is called the mother of the world. It is thus written in Proverbs, for you shall call understanding a mother. And what is the meaning of, and the children you shall take for yourself? So Rabbi Rahomet said, these are the children that she raised, and who are they? They are the 7 days of creation and the 7 days of Sukkot. And the 7 days of Sukkot, then not the same as the 7 days of the week. The difference is that the days of Sukkot are more holy. Regarding them, it is written in Leviticus, holy convocation. But then why not also include the seven weeks before? The Shavuot, since it is also called in Leviticus a holy convocation. He replied, yes, but this is one and the other is two. It is thus written in Exodus, the first day shall be holy convocation, and the 7th day shall be a holy convocation. He said, why a Shavuot one day? Because the Torah was given to Israel on that day, and when the Torah was created in the beginning, the Blessed One, Holy One, ruled his world alone with it, because it's written in Psalms, the beginning is wisdom, the fear of God. And God said to it, this being so, your holiness shall be yours by yourself. And what is Sukkot? He replied, the letter bet, which has a connotation of a house, Bait, it is written in Proverbs, with wisdom a house is built. And how do we know that Sukkot has the connotation of a house? Because it's written in Genesis, and Jacob traveled to Sukkot. He built himself a house for his livestock. He built Sukkot huts. Therefore, he named the place Sukkot. So Rabbi Bahir said, and he expounded, what is the axis? This is the likeness that is before the Blessed Holy One. It is thus written in the Song of Songs, his locks are curled, taltalim. What is the sphere? This is the womb. What is the heart? It is that regarding which is written in Deuteronomy, unto the heart of heaven. In it are included the 32 mystical paths of wisdom. What is the meaning of the words in Numbers? May God bless you and watch you. May God make his face shine upon you, be gracious unto you. May God lift his face to you and give you peace. Oh, these are the blessings.
Yes, it is. The Kohanim, the Kohanic blessing. Yeah.
Yep. So this is the explicit name of the Blessed Holy One. It is the name containing 12 letters because it is written YHVH, YHVH, and YHVH. This teaches us that God's names consist of three truths. Each truth resembles the other, and each one's name is like the other name. All of them are sealed with the Yud He Vav He. And how? The four letters Yud He Vav He can be permuted 24 different ways, forming one truth. This is, may God bless you. In a similar manner, the second one, may God make his face shine upon you. These are the 24 names of the Holy Blessed One. In a similar manner, the third one, may God lift his face. These are the 24 names of the Blessed One. This teaches us that each army, with its leaders and officers, has 24 multiplied by 24 by 3, and you have 72 names of the Blessed Holy One. These are the 72 names derived from the verses in Exodus, and traveled and came and stretched. And who are the officers? We learned that there are three. Strength, which means Gevura, is the officer of all the holy forms. To the left of the Blessed Holy One, he is Gabriel. The officer of all the holy forms to his right is Michael. In the middle is Truth. This is Uriel, the officer of all holy forms in the center.
Okay, so let me step back here for a second. Okay, we keep seeing the 72 number come up.
Uh-huh.
Okay, how many judges are there?
72.
72. Okay, so each judge represents one of the letters of the 72 names for the Holy One.
Yes.
Okay, therefore, in the name of God, do they judge? 72 of them.
Correct.
Hence why they are allowed to judge on this earth.
Correct. But these 72 judges do not exist now.
No, they don't.
Okay.
Therefore, justice is missing in the world.
Yeah, only the time of the temple. Therefore, there are certain rabbis who have the designation as a judge are allowed to judge. Unfortunately, all rabbis judge, and that's wrong. And I can tell you that I don't know how many are there. There must be maybe a few hundred, maybe a few thousand rabbis that have the designation as a judge, because only ones who have that designation should be allowed or are allowed to marry people, and most importantly is to give a get. But unfortunately, the rabbinical has become a business, and now every rabbi that has a shul can form a bet din, because he as a rabbi can get two more people who are really Shomer Shabbos can form a bedin and they can give a get, which to me means nothing. Unfortunately, because only a judge can give a get, and the same thing is in the courts and in secular courts. It's usually a judge who gives the decree of divorce. So it is in Judaism, but nowadays everybody forms a bedin, but the bedin should be formed by three rabbis who have the designation of Yore, Yadin, Yadim. If
Yeah.
they don't have that, they have no business doing it. But life is the way it is nowadays, they do it. Nobody's going to stop them except when they face God. So can't say much about it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because even when in the time of the temple you had the 72 judges, who were the 72 judges responsible to?
Oh, the Kohanim.
I'm sorry?
The Kohanim.
Yeah, he was, of course.
Yeah, basically the Kohen Gadol.
Only one to the Kohen Ago. Then those days there was no Supreme Court like they have now in Israel.
Yeah.
There were the 72 judges, and they traveled all of Israel, and they are the ones who ruled, who gave down the rulings. But they were responsible to the Kohen Agadol. Nobody else. Well, except Hashem. That's beside the point.
Well,
But
the Kohen
on the earth-
Gadol was had to answer to Hashem.
Yep.
Okay.
You and I talked about it, and I would have loved to live in those days. Not these days,
Yeah.
but who knows? Each officer is over 24 forms, but there is no reckoning of his troops, because it's written in Job, is there a number of his troops? But if so, then there are 72 plus 72, making a total of 144. He said, this is not the case, for when Israel brings a sacrifice before their Father in heaven, they are united together. This is the unification of our God.
Didn't I wrote something on Hanukkah based on that 144 letter or 144 number. I might have to look it up. I don't remember right offhand what it was, but I remember doing this whole big mathematical thing on the number 144.
Okay.
Anyway, so
So why is the sacrifice called karban, which means bringing it closer? Because it brings the forms of the holy powers close. Because it's written in Ezekiel, and you shall join one of them to the other, making one stick, and they shall become one of your hands. And why is this the sacrifice called a pleasant fragrance? Fragrance is only in the nose. The sense of smell is through the breath, and this is nowhere but in the nose. Pleasant means nothing other than descending. It is thus written in Leviticus, and he descended, and the Targum translates this, venachit, having the same root as nikoach, which the fragrant spirit descends and unified itself with those holy forms, bringing itself close through the sacrifice. It is for this reason that a sacrifice is called a karban. There is a name that is derived from the three verses in Exodus, and traveled and came and stretched. Veni, vidi, vici, no?
yeah.
The letters of the first verse, and traveled, are arranged in this name in the order that they are in the verse. The letters of the second verse and came are arranged in the name of the reverse order. The letters of the third passage and stretch are arranged in the name in the same order that they occur in the verse, just like the case of the first verse. Each one of these verses has 72 letters. Therefore, each of the names that is derived from these three sentences, and traveled and came and stretched, contain three letters. These are the 72 names. They emanate and divide themselves into those sections, 24 to each section. One over each of these sections is a higher officer. Each section has four directions to watch: east, west, north, and south. They are therefore distributed six in each direction. The four directions then have a total of 24 forms. This is the true of the first section, as well as the second and the third. You want to stop here? You want to go on?
We got about 10 minutes left.
Okay. All of them are sealed with YHVH, God of Israel, the living God, Shaddai, high and exalted, who dwells in eternity on high, whose name is holy. YHVH, blessed be the name of the glory of his kingdom forever and ever.
Still there, or did we lose you? I think we lost the audio. David, it's fine. It's just the allergy season is here, and my eye is just watering a lot. That's all. So, you back with us now? Hello.
Oh, now you're back.
Okay. Well, I never left.
Oh no, but the page disappeared. It went black.
Oh yeah. Your audio dropped out. So we were at
Okay,
we're at 111.
this is okay. This is the explicit name of Shem HaMeporesh, from which permission was given that it is permitted and spoken. It is thus written regarding the above mentioned priestly blessing, and they shall place my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them. This refers to the name containing 12 letters. It is the name used in the priestly blessing. May God bless you. It contains these names, each having four letters and making a total of 12. Its vowel points are, oh no, I can't see. Vapahai, Vapohel, Iphol. Okay, so let's see what that means. If one safeguards it and mentions in holiness, then all his prayers are heard. And not only that, but it is loud on high and below, and immediately answered and helped. This is the explicit name that was written on Aaron's forehead. The explicit name contains 72 letters, and the explicit name contained 12 letters that were given over by the Blessed Holy One, the angel Mesamariah, who stands before the curtain. He gave it to Elijah on the Mount Carmel, and with them he ascended and did not taste death. These are the explicit holy exalted names. There are 12 names, one for each 12 tribes of Israel, and I'm not going to name them because
Yeah.
I believe we should. We can read them, but we shouldn't.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll just kind
All okay. They include male and female. They are the given names to the axis, the sphere, and the heart. They are the wellsprings of wisdom. Rabbi Rahumai said and expounded, why are there 12 tribes of Israel? But this teaches us the Blessed Holy One has 12 rods. The word Shevet is the same for both tribe and rod. So what are they? What is it like? A king had a beautiful fountain. All his brothers had no water other than this fountain, and he could not endure thirst. So what did he do? He made 12 pipes for the fountain and named them after his brothers' children. He then said to them, if the sons are good as their fathers, they will be worthy, and I will let them have water flow through their pipes. The fathers will then drink all they wish, and so will their sons. But if the sons are not worthy, and they do what is right in my eyes, then regarding this, the pipes will stand, and I will give them water only on the condition that they give none to their children, since they do not obey my will.
Okay, so
What's the meaning
we're
of the
going to
word
whoa. We're gonna stop here,
Okay.
and we'll pick this up next week. And let me get back over here. I haven't turned that one off, and let's get over here to this one, and we'll turn that one off. There we go. Okay. So as I said, next week will be our last week for the summer, and we'll return again back in the fall to pick up wherever we left off, or just to carry on with some other conversations. So I'm going to, tomorrow night is the Torah study for Bamidbar, the Sefer Bamidbar and the Parsha Bamidbar. So, and we'll see what the little Midrash has to say about the Parsha. Friday night is the Kabbalat and Mariv Shabbat service at 8 p.m. Eastern, and then at Shabbat morning at 10 a.m. is the Shacharit, the Musaf service. Then back here on Monday for Zeta Story Corner. And then right back here again next Tuesday for the Rabbis Discuss, and we'll continue on with Bahir number 11. And then I'm going to turn you down here for a moment.
We'll finish the Bahir next week.
Yes. Okay, so yes, we are going to finish the Bahir next week, even if we have to go long. So, there you have it. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for being here this evening, and I hope you return often. And until the next time, we'll simply say, Laila Tov.